Zone B captured.
Yo, what is up everyone? I am Godin Gaming. Wait, hold up. Run that back.
Gains the lead. 2 for 1.
Alright, question. Did I win that engagement or did he lose that engagement? Did I make the right call or did I just get lucky? And is there even a difference? Or better yet, does it even matter? Well, spoiler alert, it does. And we're going to talk about it. So you might not realize it, but luck plays a role in almost every decision you've made in your entire life. That includes any decision you made in your gaming sessions too. So how does luck present itself in most of these decisions? Well, it mostly presents itself as the unknown, uncertainty, or risk. But you still need to make decisions, even when you don't have all the facts. So let's help you with that. You see, life is like poker, not chess. In chess, there's only a set amount of moves you could theoretically make. At any point in time, you can see the pieces on the board and know all the possible outcomes. But life isn't like that. Life is like poker. You never have all the information, you don't know what other people have, and you don't even know what's coming up ahead for you. So every decision in poker is a bet, just like in life. Let's do a couple examples just to hammer that in. You might want to go see a movie that your trusted neighborhood friend Jeremy told you was great, and it might turn out not so great. I mean, Irishman was kind of overrated. You might push on an enemy you think is a sniper and not realize that he switched to a mountaintop and just baited you. In all these scenarios, there was an element of uncertainty, or bad luck if you will. And there's a certain amount of risk as well, wasting money on a mediocre movie or losing a match. So while you might think some decisions are an easy sure thing, they're actually bets which have their own uncertainty and risk associated with them. So there you have it. Luck, uncertainty, and risk. All a part of life. And yeah, every decision is a bet. But that doesn't mean we can't get better at making those bets. One of the first things we need to do to get better at making decisions is understanding that our results come from our decisions and skill, plus a certain amount of luck. Sometimes a little more skill than luck, and sometimes a little more luck than skill. Understanding the difference between the two is crucial, and learning the proper lessons from those decisions is just as important. But honestly, it's harder than you might think to do properly. So let's start with our first tip: luck versus skill. If we want to improve our ability to make decisions and learn from our previous ones, we need to know which ones were good and which ones were bad. But does that mean we should look at our results from those decisions, like winning a gunfight or maybe even a match? Or should we look at the decisions, like deciding when to push or which guns to use? Well, like we mentioned, we do know that luck plays a role in our results, and we can't exactly learn how to have good or bad luck, right? So since luck plays a factor, we should avoid looking at our results if we want to discover if our decisions were good or bad. But trust me when I say, this is way harder than you might think. Our brains are just not really wired to do this properly. Let's go back to that shotgun example. Let's say you check his loadout, you play around a survival, and he's been using a sniper for most of the game, and you've been rushing him and destroying. So you go in for it again, but little did you know, while you were in a gunfight with his teammate, he had enough of your W key and changed to a mountaintop. He baits you and they win the round. You'd be forgiven for thinking you've made a bad decision at that point since you got a bad result, aka dying. You think it's all your fault, you beat yourself up a bunch, but the reality is that it was just bad luck. You couldn't really have known he was going to switch mid-round, especially when you're focusing on your own gunfight. So you had no way of knowing. You did your research, you made a good decision, but sometimes it just falls the other way. Just like in poker, you can make a good bet where the odds are in your favor and the results are still bad. Focusing on the result rather than the decision is called resulting. And it can negatively affect your mood and, more importantly, your ability to make good decisions in the future. It's one thing if you're resulting and focusing on a bad result that came from a good decision, because you simply might not make that good decision later on. But it's even worse when the results are reversed. If you're resulting and focusing on good results that came from a bad decision, you're more likely to make that same mistake again. Say you push a Spectral Blade alone with your shotgun while they're in super and you win. You might think, wow, that was a really good decision I made, and in no way did luck play a part in any of that. Well, you'd obviously be wrong. The odds were heavily in the Spectral's favor, but just like before, sometimes luck falls the other way. And if you're resulting here and focusing on just the result, you'd go on to think it's a really good decision to challenge supers one-on-one, when in fact it usually isn't. Winning a bet that only had a 10% chance of winning isn't a good bet. But if you're resulting here and only focusing on the outcome, you might think it was. So the bottom line is this: resulting is terrible for learning. Results are not a good indicator of a good or bad decision, because luck can play a large factor in the result. And as such, results should not be used for most of our learning, as it can teach us the wrong lesson and lead us to incorrect assumptions or ideas. And that will obviously negatively affect our ability to make better decisions in the future, since we need good, accurate information to make better decisions. So at this point, since we know results can't be trusted, it should come as no surprise that to understand and make better decisions, we need to focus on just that: our decisions. But we still need a way to understand if any decision was good or bad. And that leads us to our second tip: fielding, not resulting. Fielding is the process of trying to understand all the variables of any decision so as to make the best decision possible and learn as much as we can from those decisions. Fielding is also about understanding what decisions were good or bad and adjusting future decisions accordingly. There are a lot of details in any given decision, some known and some unknown, so we have to be thorough. Having the most accurate and abundant information can help you make better decisions than your opponents. We also want to be as rational and unbiased as possible here to avoid subjective thinking, because subjective thinking can often lead to incorrect assumptions and observations, and inaccurate information ultimately leads to worse decisions. Like we mentioned, the emphasis here is on the details of the decision and not the results. Just because you won the game or won the engagement doesn't automatically mean you made a good decision. Because you should know by now, it's possible that you got lucky and the opponents just didn't punish you for your bad decisions. And it definitely doesn't mean there wasn't room for improvement on your decision making in general. It's really important that you not simply be satisfied with good results. Learning the right lessons from our decisions can be super difficult because we're not always rational people. We all have biases and internal assumptions. It's extremely common to associate your good results with your own skill and bad results with luck. Because I mean, we would all rather believe that we're in complete control of our lives, that we earn the kill and the other people just get lucky. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, that was just a lucky shot"? Sometimes it's actually true, but most of the time it's just our bias trying to cover our ego. That's why it can be extremely hard to be unbiased and think about things rationally. And because of that, we're more likely to suffer from resulting. So our minds are built in a way that makes our bad decisions hard to notice, especially when the outcome is good. So you have to be vigilant when looking for our bad decisions. And one of the best ways of combating this is to simply not be satisfied with good results. So let's use a real example from my buddy Eddie182 to see what fielding really looks like. So let's take a look at this clip. We see him with his shotgun out, doing some slides to get closer, and then he gets the kill. So it was a good result, he got the kill. But as I'm trying to hammer in, we can't be satisfied with good results. We need to field the play to see if those were good decisions or not. Well, let's see. When sliding, you could still shoot, but not with a shotgun at that range. So had he had his primary out during these slides, he likely could have shot and even killed the guy before he closed the gap. So I'd argue the lesson here is that when sliding to close the gap, it makes more sense to have your primary out and take shots until you're close enough to shotgun. Then he slides to the next enemy with his primary out, which is good, but he just doesn't take the shot. He switches to shotgun when in close quarters, again, very good, but then he runs into the open for the kill. The enemy misses 3 shots, and the other enemy is not there to take advantage of Eddie being in the open. So again, I think we got lucky here. We did get a good result, but our decisions could have been better. We need to take shots while sliding and also not be in the open. Then we run to find the next target with our shotgun out, but we don't have any ammo. We use barricade, which is great, and then we make a dash for special. And the enemy misses us and we get the kill. Running with a gun that doesn't have ammo in is probably not the best move, and the fact that the enemy missed us means we probably got lucky. He definitely had the advantage and blew it, but we did capitalize on that. So still a good result, but again, I think there's room for improvement on our decision making. So that's what fielding looks like. You have to really drill down if you want to learn the right lessons from your good and bad decisions, even when you have a good outcome. Good results should not be enough for you. Learning how to field your decisions is the most important part of this video. It's the act of rational, unbiased examination into our decisions. It's not easy, nor is it obvious, but it can lead to a huge impact later on. However, it implies you know what to look for. If you don't know the basics of the game, it's obviously going to be difficult to field your decisions. If you don't know what grenades do or don't do, it's going to be hard to know if someone is using them wrong. If you don't know the rules of poker, it can be hard to tell if someone just got lucky. So alongside our ability to field our decisions, we should also try to improve our understanding of the game we're playing. And there's one more way to help us improve on that front, and that's our next subject. One mind, two bodies. One of the most crucial learning tools are your friends. Yeah, that's right. Your friends are massive tools, and so are you. Friends, mentors, colleagues are all great ways to help you improve not only your understanding of the game, but also help your ability to field your decisions. Because think about it, having more trained eyes on the search for new and high quality information will obviously lead to a more broad education on any given subject. And having more observations and points of view will obviously lead to more accurate fielding. This is especially true when having the group look at your decisions, since they are much less likely to be unbiased. Again, the more unbiased information we get, the better. They are more likely to call your sick sniper play for the careless and risky play it really was. Friends can do all of this, but that's if, and only if, they're devoted to the same goal: rational, unbiased learning and improvement. You, or anyone in the group, Can't allow anyone to complain about outcomes or bad luck. It doesn't help you or anyone in the group. It's a step backwards from what you're going for. If someone comes to you and tries to show you gameplay where they got rushed and complain about shotguns, you need to tell them, I don't want to hear it. You should go cool off and come back when you're ready to analyze your play. You all need to be laser focused on the same goal. Looking for people with different views is extremely helpful as well, as it will keep you out of your bubble and allow you to take in more information. But there will definitely be disagreements, and that's encouraged actually. So we obviously want to speak openly so we can hear their opinions. That means we can't react to dissenting opinion by being emotional or confrontational. Giving a bad reaction to dissent often discourages people from giving their opinions and thoughts, which means we're no longer getting the most accurate and objective truth we're looking for. So be open to opinions, especially the ones you don't like, since overreacting to dissent will encourage people not to tell you their observations. You're not going to tell Joey he made a bad play if he starts yelling and cursing at you every time you try to point it out. Don't be that guy. Embrace what others have to say. It's great to give differing opinions, but you need to do it in a way that promotes discussion. Lead with assent. Listen for things you agree with, state them, and be specific. Then follow up with, and here is what I think. Don't use hardline language like, I know you messed up here, or that is definitely the wrong push. Because like we talked about, we don't have all the information and we could easily be wrong. But more importantly, it shuts down conversation. So use language that is open and approachable. Something like, I think that was a bad super, or that was probably a bad way to push. This should allow you to have better and more open discussions that will lead to more free flow of information. And when you and your friends are unsure of what idea is right, it can be helpful to bet money on it. Nothing will force you to rethink and vet your ideas better than the risk of losing money. Everything is a bet after all anyway, so go for it. So after all that, I hope you now have a better understanding of how luck plays a role in your results and your decisions, and how best to learn from them. It's not going to be easy or obvious, but it will help you make better decisions and become a better player. And to finally answer that question from the beginning, no, I didn't win that engagement. I got lucky, and he lost it for himself. Thankfully though, I know the difference. But man, did it still feel good. Thank you so much for watching. I know this one was really long, but trust me when I say I tried really hard to make this as short as possible, but sometimes it just doesn't pan out that way. Because this was basically a book summary. It's a book called Thinking in Bets by Andy Duke. It's a terrific read, highly recommended if you're looking for more information. And if you guys enjoyed this, please let me know. If not, don't worry, I promise there's going to be more short form content in the future. And if you're new here and you're looking for more tips and tricks, feel free to watch my other videos here and here. And for all 5 of you that made it to the end of the video, happy practicing.